Take of the week. YouTube streams. No. No, it's still taking its time. Translations eSports.
Oh, there's a notification.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, then. I still haven't got the notification for some reason. For some reason. But anyway. Ah, there we go, we got people on. So yeah, I just haven't got the notification yet for whatever reason, but the stream's up, so we should be all good to go. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to round 9 of the Transnation Esports America's Sunday Championship. We are here at the Canadian Grand Prix at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, a 4.36 kilometre or 2.67 mile circuit. A race that was first established in 1978, and it's more or less been a fixture on the calendar since then. Not only because of Canada's rich history in motorsport, but also the fact that this racetrack has a particularly good knack of generating some fantastic races, not only in the real world of motorsport, but also here in the virtual world. Racetrack that consists of 14 corners. Most of the overtaking will take place usually at turn 10, the hairpin, and turns 13 and turn 1, of course, as they come up the DRS zones. So that's where most of the overtaking will take place. So the rest of the circuit pretty much follow the leader sort of stuff. There might be a few opportunities here and there, especially if you get a run. But other than that, most of the overtaking will take place around those sort of corners. But alongside me once again for tonight's race is Michael Garone Jr. Now Michael, you know this racetrack can generate some pretty good racing, and this tier has generated some pretty good racing. Have you got high expectations for tonight's race, or going to try and keep an open mind?
Oh yeah, this track and competitor combo can only breed good things. We've been in North America Series. We've also got a good number of Canadians here in their home race, so we'll be looking for those guys. They're going to be hungry to win on home soil, and yeah, we should see another good one. I don't think we've had a bad race yet this season, so fingers crossed that we get another one tonight.
And hopefully we'll get a weather report from one of the drivers on the grid, just so then we got an idea of what the conditions are going to be like, because in Canada there is a chance of rain to occur during the race, so we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully we will get a weather report. If not, we'll just assume it's dry, in which case the racing should be good regardless. But let's see, who's on a flyer? See, everyone's out at the moment. I can't really gauge who's the first driver on the flying lap. Dear me, I'll just go with Honda. Why not? Because he's championship leader, if I remember correctly, after a superb performance in the past few races, really, as Matty's out.
Matty's out.
We'll go on board with Dustin Howe. We'll get a good look. This is turn 4, and oh my word. What do you think? Lost the back end, hit the wall?
Yeah, had to have dropped it and hit the wall. Really easy to do there. You get a little bit too much of that inside curve and it just spits the car out into the wall. Be coming from the back, but we'll open up the an opportunity to do an alternate strategy here that might play into his hands, so we'll have to look out for that.
Well, you say alternate strategy. What would you do around here at this racetrack? I'm pretty sure it's a two-stop strategy around here because of how quick the pit lane is.
Yeah, I'd probably, if you want to get super aggressive, I'd go soft, medium. Yep. Perhaps, I mean, the better one stop would probably be the soft hard. I would assume that you could do a soft medium here.
Yep.
Oh, we got Marino just sitting there. It's an interesting one. Just sitting at the hairpin. But yeah, you could do soft mediums at a lot of places that you'd never been able to before on this game, so I'd assume that you'd be able to do a soft medium if you were willing to do a certain level of management.
Now, let's see, I think everyone's more or less completed their first flyers, a few invalid here and there, and that's something that a lot of drivers, including myself, have noticed around this circuit, is that the warnings are pretty easy to get around here, particularly through turns 8 and 9 I've noticed, as well as the Wall of Champions chicane, the most notorious part on the racetrack. So I'm going to assume that penalties are going to play quite a big part in this race, particularly if there's a safety car or two thrown in there. What's your own thoughts on the racetrack, Michael? Is it a particular favourite of yours?
Yeah, it's always been a good favorite. This season, or I should say on this game, there's something about the track that I don't really enjoy. I can't really put my finger on it, but it feels a lot different to drive than it ever has on the F1 games. But yeah, you can't go wrong with a track like this. Nice, you know, you got your long straights, you got your fast S sections, you got your hairpins, so very technical track. Again, probably another track that's hard to set up for, like Baku last week. But yeah, I always love the race in real life. If I ever go to a race in real life, this would probably be the one.
Oh,
it's really? A lot closer for me to, yeah, it's closer for me to come to this race in real life than it would be to go to COTA, so I think we've talks of a few of us meeting up there next year, perhaps for the race there. So
interesting. Now we've got 12 minutes left in the session, which is plenty of time left for a track like this where it's less than 70 seconds long. But already Honda's broken away from the field, a 1 minute 8.872. He is literally a second quicker than Barkskull. Dave Arvis, I believe, is reserving, if I remember correctly. Yeah. But yeah, already a massive margin at the top of the table. Hopefully a couple of drivers might be able to try and get themselves into the low 9s or maybe even to the 8s and try and challenge for pole position. But Honda sort of in a class of his own as Marino crosses the line and does a 13.9, currently setting the 10th quickest time. Rob Hadley has invalidated. Cameron is 15th in the Renault, is coming through the Wall of Champions chicane. Very tight chicane, given its name after the 1999 Canadian Grand Prix, after 3 world champions crashed into the outside wall. Michael Schumacher, Damon Hill and Jacques Villeneuve, all of them crashed at the exact same spot. So the chicane itself was coined the name Wall of Champions, rather fittingly. Hopefully we won't see too many incidents there tonight, because if we do, it's bound to be absolutely massive and probably will involve more than one car. So hopefully that doesn't result in anything. Hopefully. Rob crossing the line. Is he going to try and commit to another lap? I think he is. Yeah, well, we'll let Rob take us on a guided tour of this 2.6 mile circuit, coming through turn 2, up through the gears. He'll hit 6th gear into 7th for turn 3. Interesting. 4th gear for turn 3, through turn 4 into turn 5, and turn 6 and 7. 7 the more important of the two, as it dictates the run onto this straightaway. DRS open. He's got a bit of a tie from Justin Laprade, who currently sits in P2 with a 1 minute 9.4. Very important corner as well. It's so easy to drift out wide at the exit of turn 8 and get a track extending warning. Turn 10, the slowest corner on the circuit, if I'm not mistaken. Very tight hairpin into tight right hand hairpin, coming through turn 11. Then turn 12. Apparently they count this as a turn on the track map. I don't ask me why, but they do.
That's not a turn.
That's a turn, apparently. Don't at me. That's a turn. Turns 13 and 14 make up the Wall of Champions. He crosses the line and does a 10-2, puts him into P6. But yeah, that little right-hand kink is a turn.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
I don't know. It just is. Deal with it. I guess. That used to be a lot different back in the 1990s. That was actually a chicane there. It was put in place there after a certain event that happened in 1994 that I think pretty much everyone here would know about. But that was soon redesigned and reprofiled, so that chicane isn't there anymore. But
Sean jumps his way to P3 on a 109.2.
And Joker in the McLaren at the top of the table as well with an 8.826.
Like Honda's looking to improve. He's gonna make his way down the front stretch.
Oh wow.
And he goes 108.5.
So he improves by just under 0.3 of a second, proceeds to miss turn 2. That is a lot of time gained by Honda. And there's still plenty of time left in the session, so he's got at least one more lap in him towards the end that he'll be able to do.
Yeah, I think the target's going to be a low 108 for the quick guys across all the races this weekend, or this weekend and into this weekend. So he's not too far off of it there.
No champion of Trans Nation eSports has DNF'd at the Wall of Champions. What it should say is no champion of T&E has DNF'd at the Wall of Champions yet. Okay, yes. There's an extra word on the end of that statement there, Brett.
I think we have, I could be wrong, but I think we got one champion in here in the field tonight.
Oh, okay. And that is
Stuart Leslie.
Right. So, Stuart, careful. I've got at least one eye on you. As he's coming through. Actually, we're right on board with it. He's on the medium tyre, which is interesting. Looks like they're already worn as well. So he'll be hoping to qualify inside the top 10 and hopefully start on that medium compound. Coming through turns 8 and 9. Now down this small straight, in quotation marks, heading into turn 10. Hard on the brakes, 0.3 up on his time. Oh, but that's it, lap done. He would have lost 0.3 in that very moment alone. Just a massive moment, a lot of oversteer at corner exit, and he loses so much time, not only on corner exit, but also down the straight as well. So, DRS Open, see if he does improve. 109. Oh, he does, only just by 1/10.
Oh, he would have really improved there.
He could have potentially jumped up to the top 5 if he didn't make that mistake, so...
Yeah, he'd kick himself for that one.
Cameron's...
No, he's probably listening to us as he usually does.
No pressure, Stuart. No pressure at all, it's okay. Okay. Christopher's on a flyer, currently in P10. Got a few drivers on flying laps. So we're just under 5 minutes left in the session. A lot of the drivers in the pit lane right now will just be preparing themselves for their final flying laps. Got some yellow flags going on here. That's Bojan. He's pulled off to the side. I thought he might have crashed, but he didn't. Thank goodness. Christopher coming through the hairpin right now. Bojan just making sure he gets out of the way. That's what's causing the yellow flags. Through turn 12 onto the Casino Straight, if I remember correctly. I'm pretty sure it's called the Casino Straight. Into the Wall of Champions chicane. No, he pulls out of his lap.
Sebi jumps up to P7. 109.8. So Stuart is going to have to be careful.
He's in the pits, so he can make a pretty late call on whether or not he wants to go out and try and set a better lap time. Probably on the soft compound tyre. And there we go, he has them fitted now.
He just flips to the soft.
Yeah, so he'll be getting ready for one final run. Sean Yarborough is on a flyer in P3 at the moment. He's coming up to the Sector 2 split. See what his time's like. He's only just
minor improvement.
So this, at the moment, isn't lining himself up as second. He'll just pull away further from Justin Laprade, who's currently in P4. Down the Casino Straight. Watch that speedo climb up and over 330 kilometers an hour. Hard on the brakes. 5th gear, 4th gear through the Wall of Champions, right up towards the wall. Comes up to the line. It's a 109 flat.
109 dead.
Well done.
Good lap from him there.
Just under half a second now away from, well, the gap between him and Justin Laprade, as Bojan's retired in the pit lane, so he can't do any better than 13th. The Joker, looks like he's pushing, so he's just waiting patiently. Honda, though, he's just about to begin his final flying lap. Also, Stewart's on an out lap, so he's definitely going to try and beat his time on that tyre. Let's see what our current pole sitter can do around this circuit. Give us an idea of how to set these times around this track. Through turn 1, 3rd gear, 2nd gear for turn 2, short shifts to 3rd. Doesn't use all of 3rd, but uses most of it. Into turn 3, 4th gear, 5th gear, coming through turn 4, into turn 5. Absolutely flat out, braking just after the orange Armco on the outside, and he's purple in sector 1, so he has improved. DRS open, comes up to 8th gear, underneath the overpass. 3rd gear, short shifts to 4th, then 5th gear on the exit, using all of the curb. Coming up to the sector 2 split, he's only just up by 0.02 of a second through the hairpin. 2nd gear, uses all of 2nd, tries to get all the power down, uses much horsepower as he can. DRS open, 8th gear, speeding down towards the Wall of Champions chicane. Will he send it? Yes, he will, and he invalidates. And into the wall. Did he damage his front wing? Yes, he did. So his qualifying is over. He absolutely sent it at the Wall of Champions, but unfortunately he cut a little bit too much. Now,
I think, oh, you're not supposed to do that, Andrew.
Oh, he's retired on circuit as well.
He has.
Uh-oh. So I think Joker's about to try and set a flyer.
And he just, crossed the line, didn't improve, so I think that's his qualifying done.
And Stuart Leslie jumps up to P5.
Up to P5, yeah.
Well done. So he's well inside the top 10. Only just behind Cameron, in fact, by 0.15 of a second. But yeah, Honda, not very good to do that. It's always a good idea to just keep control of your car, even if your session is done, because the AI will do stupid things that no human would ever do. Even in a quali session, it's not a good idea to just retire from the session. On track, at least.
Don't think we have many. I think Dave's is on a lap. Dave Arbus is on a lap.
Yep, in P8.
Sebi should still be on a lap in P9. He's on the mediums, actually. Dustin, I think, is on a lap in P11. And then Christopher is also on a lap. Or no, he's back way down, so his lap is done. Ooh, Dave invalidates.
Yeah.
He actually improved there.
Massively, too.
Yeah, that would have bumped him. It only would have gotten him one spot, but
still,
every position is important. Yes, we'll see what Dustin can do. Very nice, the final chicane.
And he got
big improvement for Dustin.
Well done. Nice bit of qualifying.
Sebi just sneaks into the pit. Yeah, that's a really good effort from Dustin.
You know, he's only just behind Stewart by 0.5 of a second, so not bad at all.
Yeah, I think we've seen just improvement from him every week. As the season's gone on, he's got more and more comfortable. So yeah, I look forward to seeing what he could do as the year continues, because right now it's looking pretty good for him.
2 drivers did not set a lap time. Matthew Elliott, after crashing at the exit of turn 4, did not set a time. Neither did Salvanek. He competed all the way throughout the session, I'm pretty sure, but he did not set a lap time. I'm pretty sure he didn't have quali ban or anything like that next to his name, did he? I'm pretty sure he didn't. But
don't think he did. Maybe he just decided not to go out.
Or look, I did
Maybe
mention there are quite a few places where you can
master
just
plan of missing the carnage.
Could do. But yeah, there are a couple of places on this track where you can cop warnings. So particularly turn 3 is one, turn 9, the Wall of Champions. You know, there are a couple of places where you can just slide a little bit wide or turn in a little bit too early. So it is possible that he just couldn't actually set a legal lap time and he'll qualify 16th. But, you know, it's onwards and upwards and all that. He can only move up from here, so and yeah, he could miss out on the lap 1 carnage starting towards the back, so it might work out in his favor, but we'll have to wait and see as the AI crashes into the back of the Ferrari. Wow. But it's Honda on pole position. A Canadian gets pole position for the Canadian Grand Prix. How fitting, but there are question marks over Honda's head after some of his actions during quali. Joker will start from P2 in the McLaren with Sean Yarborough in P3, Cameron P4, Stuart Leslie P5, Dustin Howe P6, well done to him, Justin Laprade P7, Lip Romney in P8, Dave Iverson P9, Sebastian Flores rounds out the top 10, and all of them will be starting on the soft compound of tyre. Just have to see what the conditions are like for the race, I suppose. Is it going to be raining? Is it going to be dry?
I guess our weather boy never reported in.
It's overcast.
Ooh, yeah, it's pretty dark. Pretty dark.
So we might see some rain. Maybe. We'll have to wait and see. I was going to say, by looking at what tyres people start on, that might give us an idea, but I think a lot of the drivers would be probably starting on the softs regardless, I would think, considering this is a 2-stop racetrack. I don't know. I guess with the weather we just keep an open mind and just see what happens unless we get a report from someone.
Yeah, Stuart did say earlier in the stream, cloudy in race but says no rain.
Oh, okay.
So dark clouds, dark racetrack, but hopefully no rain for these guys.
Well, the game
I know a lot of them.
The game might say no rain, but that doesn't mean there will be no rain. There was one famous occasion that I witnessed in Spa where it said dry all the way through. Okay, but it was just cloudy. It had cloudy images as the weather. It had no rain, but for I think it was about 7 after the 22 laps that you do around Spa in a 50% race. 7 of those laps were raining, but it didn't get heavy enough for it to become intermediate conditions. It just turned the track into a greasy racetrack. So that can happen in this game. So
actually, I think you'd agree with this, but I actually find those conditions the worst. Where it's raining, but not quite wet enough for inners. It's just so tricky.
It is,
because you also feel just like don't you know what to do. Yeah.
You feel like you need to go onto the intermediate because surely, these soft tyres, they have no grip at all. Surely I need to go onto the inters. You go onto the inters, and it's worse than what it was on the softs. So you basically wasted a pit stop. And you're right, the car just grip isn't a thing in those conditions.
Doesn't respond, doesn't grip.
No. you're just
You
sideways.
have no sense of confidence.
Everywhere.
You have no sense of what's going on. It's not a good situation.
You best be wearing brown pants for that period, because honestly, you'd be crapping yourself every time you go around the corner.
Just blend right in.
Honestly. So, even though the game says there's no rain, it's always a good idea, just in the back of your mind, it just might start raining. Not to intermediate conditions, but just a greasy racetrack. And it's horrible.
Real quick before the start, we didn't go through it, so we got Christopher on the mediums, Bojan on the mediums, and then Matt at the back of the field on the mediums. Everybody else opting to go with the softs.
But here we go. Drivers are lined up on the grid. We're ready to go. The revs rise here in Canada. We've got 5 red lights. And it's lights out. And away we go here in Montreal. Honda gets a fantastic start. He's absolutely nailed it. 3 wide into turn 1. This is going to be carnage, isn't it? Side by side through turn 1. No, everyone negotiates each other fairly well for the most part, except for the guys at the back. That's a Williams into Bojan. Oh, here we go. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. That's GoPreds and Bojan making contact at turn 2.
Brian and Bojan get together. We'll look for some damage. Yep, so Brian's got a little bit of damage there. Bojan does as well, so.
Coming through the second sector now, the midfield. Oh, and Stuart Leslie goes into the wall. That was a big moment. No damage, amazingly. I would have swore he hit that wall. He was completely sideways after the exit of turn 9, but he gathers it back up, and he doesn't lose track position either. He hangs on to P5 for now. See this almighty train of cars heading down the Casino Straight just before the Wall of Champions chicane. Drivers being very cautious, I imagine, through there as
hang on, Williams around.
And that's Sebastian, I think, around as well. Actually, no, that's Sebastian around in the first place. As he's disqualified from the session for driving too far down the wrong way. There we go.
That is a serious.
Now, the way that car was, I reckon he made side pod contact with someone, spun the car round so it's 180 degrees the wrong way, and then he tried to flick spin it to get it back pointing the right way, and the game disqualified him. I reckon that's what happened. Either that, or he just sort of lost it by himself through the Wall of Champions, just unsettling the car, spinning the car around. Yeah, that's...
we got another yellow flag.
Marino's.
Ooh, big damage right there.
Virtual safety car deployed. Oh, gee whiz. That connection, though. Holy moly.
Yeah, I just caught a glimpse of that.
Oh, he came to a complete stop, and then he teleported into hyperspace. Jesus Christ. Joker's in. Drive-through penalty for GoPreds. As Joker goes onto the hard compound tyre, he's still in the pits. Why is he still in the pits? And there he goes. That took an eternity. Dear me.
Interesting call for Daniel there. I don't know if he'll...
I don't know.
If he thinks he could go to the end.
I would have went mediums in my...
Yeah, I don't know if he'd be able to make it all the way to the end. Oh, he's going to come out right behind Bojan.
Yeah.
VSC's still out.
Most of the cars around are going to be doing 2 stops anyway, so I think it's probably the best to do a medium stint. You're still going to get everyone else has to make 2 stops, whereas you realistically only need to make 1. And the hard tyre it's kind of that tyre.
I avoid him when possible.
The hard tyre is sort of that tyre. You don't really want to use it unless you kind of have to. Anyway, it'll be interesting to see how he goes.
Yeah, with him reserving, he could just be taking a shot here and seeing what happens. Maybe to learn a little bit for tomorrow. He is also a national runner, so maybe trying to learn a little bit for Sat. Oh, he almost lost it on the exit of the final corner.
Dear. But yeah, at least by going on it, he can gather some information for himself to just see how the tyre behaves throughout the race. So he can treat it as a bit of a test session for himself. That's if he stays all the way through the race, of course. Knowing this racetrack and its ability to cause a few retirements, and also with Joker having that massive slide at the final corner, as you mentioned, there's a fair chance that almost any of these drivers could retire from this race at some point. Cameron's going to make a move here. Down the inside, into the wall of champions. It's a very clean move. He slots himself now into P2. Pulls away from Sean just a little bit as he'll get DRS down the pit straight as well.
Stewart and Justin kind of close together. This is going to become a four-way battle here.
Yeah, very, very close between these guys at the moment. Any one of these guys make a mistake, they'll lose so much time and so much position as Matthew goes into the pits.
And Matt's in the pits.
Wing check.
And played off. Yeah. So he goes hards too.
That's somewhat understandable. He had to do the wing change as well. So he loses about 5 seconds extra in the pit lane. So that's a fair thing to do. At the moment, Honda's just pulled away 4.2 seconds to Cameron after just 5 laps. But then again, the people in second place, well, they're having a scrap between each other.
Stewart gets a little squirrely on the exit of the hairpin. Justin's going to take advantage of that.
Around the outside.
Oh, they're going to drag race. Who's going to back out?
I don't think either of them will, to be brutally honest. Oh, Justin
Stewart breaks late.
Just behind as well, Dave Arbus and Rob Hadley are battling behind for P6. So we've got a fair few battles going on, which is fantastic to see. Hopefully that this will continue all the way throughout the race. But at the moment, got a battle for P2, battle for P4, and hopefully if they stop scrapping a little bit, it might turn into a four-way battle for second. Got a battle for P... well, we did have a battle for P6. Rob has dropped away quite a bit. Now 1.7 seconds behind Dave Arbus. In fact, he's
looks
now
like
got
Christopher's on the back of Rob now.
Interesting.
So
on the
those
medium
mediums
tire.
Starting to feel good.
Now, lap 6, is this about the point where the softs start to switch off?
Ooh, I don't know. I'm not gonna lie to you, I haven't done very much race practice so far. I think the furthest you could take them is about 12 laps, just based off of what it tells you on your fancy little computer screen. Rob actually blinks.
He might be jumping onto a set of mediums, I imagine. Yep, there we go.
You are correct.
And he'll probably do another medium stint in about 15 laps time, lap 21 I imagine, lap 2021, as Justin LaProix gets a 3-second time
Justin,
penalty.
yeah. We're going to be seeing a lot of those.
He's on the back of Stuart Leslie at the moment, 0.4 of a second separating the two. Just in front of them, there's also the battle between Cameron and Sean Yarborough for second place. Meanwhile, Honda's just pulled away now. Just 6 seconds now, the gap between him and Cameron. That clear air working very nicely for him. But he's doing a fantastic job. Stuart at the moment doing a good job holding off Justin. Even though Justin's got DRS. This really shows Stewart's got some good speed under that car, particularly through the technical sections of the circuit. So,
yeah, it is pretty tricky to overtake here. I mean, you have that super long straight from the hairpin all the way to the final chicane, but if you don't get the move done before you start braking, it gets real hairy because you don't want to be going double file there. So
No.
you get a lot of opportunities where you're super close, but you can't do anything with it just because you don't want to risk your race being ruined by trying to stick one in up the inside there at the final chicanes. So
now Rob's making full use of this tyre. Salvanic gets a 3-second time penalty for gathering up too many warnings. Rob's going to make a move here on Michael, a very straightforward one at that. Using DRS, a bit of overtake, and he slingshot the Spider
doesn't even fight it.
No reason to. As in the pits, I think. As Honda's
he has retired in the pits right in front of his teammate.
Oh, this is
right
massive.
in front of Honda.
Double stack for Honda's team. Oh, that's unbelievable.
He's not going to move because he retired.
Oh, there we go. He's out now. Oh, this is absolutely massive for Honda. He's lost so much time in the pits.
Wow.
Unbelievable.
I've never seen something like that.
Car comes in, retires from the session. Didn't even need to make that pit stop. He just wanted to get out of the race, and he's cost his teammate so much time. Now, Cameron and
Honda's
Stewart,
all the way behind Rob Hadley.
Oh, look. Oh, you're absolutely correct. That's how much time he's lost. Granted, Rob's had an undercut. He's had a 2-lap undercut. But still, that's how much time he's lost.
These top three need to get into the pits now as soon as they can.
Right now. The more time they spend out here on track, the more time they'll lose, respectively, to not only Andrew, but also Rob, who's now in quite a nice position. Oh, Cameron stays out. Stewart dives into the pits. So Cameron gets a 3-second time penalty. What does Dave do? He stays out. Interesting.
Dave stays out. Oh, so Stewart's the only one being super proactive here.
This is a very good call. Keep an eye out for Rob and Honda. As Honda makes a move around the outside at the Wall of Champions, is able to break so much deeper. Now here comes Stewart.
Oh, Stewart's going to be looking really good here. He's going to come out in front of Daniel.
Unbelievable. So that's the effective race lead.
Yep. After pit stop cycle through, he will be the effective race leader. We don't know what Daniel's going to do on this strategy. Christopher, obviously, on the tires that he started with. Maybe a one-stop for him.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what Daniel does in the McLaren. I'm guessing he's just going to try and go to the end on these tyres. So it means that Honda has to genuinely get past the McLaren. Going to be no easy feat for that, that's for sure. But Rob Hadley is then provisionally P4 at the moment. He's up with the top 3 guys in this position, so he's done very well. He's losing time, but it was a good idea to use that undercut, pit early, get the fresh tyres on, and put the hammer down. It's paid massive dividends for him.
Just like that, Stewart, Daniel, and Honda all right on top of each other. Ooh, Honda's going to look to the inside.
Here in turn 1. Joker will have the inside line for 2. And there's Cameron just in front.
Cam actually comes out in front.
Unbelievable.
Ooh, that's tight racing.
So Cameron with the overcut made it work. How did he do that? I guess that I wouldn't even say clear air because Stewart was in clear air as well. I don't.
So is Cam gonna bolt here? Stewart looks like he's struggling a little bit. Now with Daniel being on the back of him, that's not gonna do him any good.
No.
He's got somebody breathing right down his neck, a lot of pressure on him. So now Cam can potentially pull out a good gap here. Well, we still got Dave sticking out. There on the original set of tires.
I think
Christopher obviously.
Yep, there we go. Dives in. Pulls it up nicely, doesn't want to get a 5-second pen. But that's very well done from Cameron to end up in front of his rivals in this race. Because I would have swore that those 3 would get the undercut on the Renault. But obviously those soft tyres that he had still have a fair amount of life in him. He was able to put a solid lap together. So that's a superb effort from him to end up in the position that he is in currently.
Honda gets around Daniel here.
Now, will Daniel counter-attack? And by how much? So he'll come through.
I think Honda's already gone.
Yeah, he has those fresher, softer tyres. So much more grip. He just pulls away with ease. Look at that. Daniel's got next to no defence whatsoever. As Honda's going to try and send a move down the inside of the hairpin, is it going to be successful? Well, they're going to be side by side, and I think, yeah, Honda will get DRS. Stewart won't, but he got the slipstream. He's actually sticking with him, so
Stewart's going to stay smart about this.
Christopher dives into the pit, so the first pit cycle is out of the way. Top three, Cameron from Honda, from Stewart, Leslie.
He goes medium or hard with a wing change.
Perhaps a premature pit stop. Maybe he wanted to stay out a little longer. Just came in for the wing damage. Salvanik into the pits as well, off the medium compound. Going to go onto a set of hards as well with the front wing change. So how about that? Honda being costed so much time in the pits. He lost that nice lead that he built up at the start of the race. Finds himself
that
in
was
P2.
Really interesting to see. I never even really thought about that. I've never seen something like that. Usually we have people retire in the pits quite late in the race where pit windows aren't open, so we've never really seen something like that. But yeah, that's sure Honda's not too happy. I know he's not happy about it.
Because it was looking like a very straightforward performance now for Honda before that point, but yeah, his teammate has put a bit of a hurdle in front of him now, and that hurdle is in the form of Cameron. Gap between them is half a second now, increased to 0.6 of a second. I wonder where he's going to try and set up a move. Coming around turn 6 and turn 7, heading down the back straightaway, heading towards turns 8 and 9. We saw him make a move on Leslie just a few laps prior, but I don't think he's quite close enough here. He's using overtake though, he used plenty of it to close the gap between him and the Renault. Coming out of the hairpin through turn 11.
He should get it done pretty easily here. I don't know.
Run out of ERS.
ERS.
There he goes. Cameron doesn't fight too much. Will he counter-attack, I wonder?
I don't think he's got anything to do that.
Not even using any of the overtake, which is interesting. I thought he would have tried to counter-attack there, but I guess not. Now he's got Stewart all over the back of him. It's just that Renault doesn't look particularly quick at the moment, and now the gap's out to a second, so Cameron's not even going to get DRS at this rate, so...
Yeah, Honda, again, looks on another level. I don't think there was a doubt last week that he was going to win once the race got started. I don't think there was ever a moment where he looked on the back foot. Tonight we've seen him with a challenge thrown at him, but dealt with it pretty well.
Yeah,
gotta say, much better than I would probably deal with it.
Yeah, I would be animated and furious about what happened just there. But it seems that he just sort of resetted himself, just got his head down and got the job done. Got back past both Stewart and Cameron. He's now back in the lead, and already he's starting to pull a gap. So I just saw an overtake. Oh, hello. As Bojan dives into the pits. 14 laps on those medium tyres. He'll come in, probably slap on a set of hards, I would think, or what is he going to do? Yep, slap on a set of hards. Front wing change as well. There we go. Gap's starting to open up a fair bit here in Canada. The only real battle taking place is the battle for second. And that's sort of been fluctuating a little bit. The gaps have closed, then they've opened up, then they closed again. Now they're starting to open up a little bit. Down the back straight away. DRS open, not using any overtakers. Stuart Leslie heading into the wall of champions. Tries to get a good run through there and does so. He's 4/10 behind. But again, he's not able to carry enough momentum to try and launch an attack at turn 1. It's going to take him a little while to try and set up this move. As Joker gets another 3-second time penalty. I think that's either his second or third this race. Now he's trying to do the one stop, but those penalties aren't doing him any favours whatsoever. So.
Oh no, and he just clipped the wall a little bit there too. So.
Oh dear.
It's like he's gotten away with it.
Oh, very lucky. Very lucky indeed.
Yes. Looks like not much Stuart can do.
Not gonna lie, I am really surprised how many drivers have chosen to do the sort of one stop. Like the amount of people choosing to go onto the hard tyre. I find it quite surprising.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. I think it's pretty visible that the difference between the mediums and the hards. Daniel's kind of pace-wise dropping like a rock compared to the guys in front. I think Rob's slowly closing in. So yeah, it seems like the mediums is the way to go. It might, it's probably just going to be better off to do a second stop.
Yeah. Well, the pit lane is so short around here in terms of the amount of time you lose.
Yeah, well, the pit exit is really an advantage.
Yeah, exactly. Well, the pit lane itself, it cuts out the wall of champions, turn 1 and half of turn 2. So the amount of time that you will gain from that is absolutely immense. And I think it's a 80 kilometer an hour pit lane, or 50 miles an hour, I think is what it is in, I think. Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it should be 80k, 50 mile an hour.
Yeah, which is kind of surprising considering there's other pit lanes in the world like Silverstone. That's like, oh, it's Stuart.
Oh, Stuart, a big spin.
Oh, he still has the car in overtake. I recommend you switch that off.
Wow, that was a weird one. It just went right around on him.
Just too eager on the throttle, I suppose. That's very unfortunate, and he'll have to come in.
Still,
now, hards, or
maybe do another medium set here.
It would be a stretch, but I think it could be possible. So, yep, set of mediums, and here comes Sean into the pits as well. He's going onto a set of mediums with a front wing change. That's a big moment. That's a massive let-off for Cameron as well. Just a small mistake. That's all it was. Just getting on the throttle too early. That's literally all it was. And car snap. Game punishes you pretty hard like that. Thankfully, he didn't crash at the Wall of Champions. Otherwise, A, I would feel horrible because I made mention of it at the beginning of the
stream. I made a joke about it.
And B, if you make a mistake at the Wall of Champions, damage a front wing or something, you have to do an entire tour of the racetrack in order to get back into the pits. So, luckily he did it before the chicane. But regardless, he's lost a lot of time. And the guys in front of him, they could probably go to the end. Dustin probably can, Christopher can, I think Matthew can as well on those tyres. They'll be pretty dead, but I think they can go to the end. As Rob Hadley's diving into the pits, he's going to go onto a set of medium compound tyres. Lap 20, I said about lap 20, 21 he would come in. Turns out to be lap 20. Well, actually, no. In his case, it'll be lap 19. He'll just begin lap 20 now, so a little bit earlier than I predicted, but about the right area. And he comes in front of Dustin Howe, and that's
he's
big.
He's come out in really good shape, actually.
So at the moment, he's holding he's holding a few good cards in his hand right now, as Marino has left the session. And with the clear air, he can just set some really fast, consistent lap times. He'll be in a good position at the end of the race to score some very solid points. So it's been a good effort from Rob at the moment. Hopefully that will continue. As Matthew gets a 3-second time penalty, multiple warnings.
Yeah, I believe that's his first. He's quietly just been going about making a recovery after that early incident. Stort's going to be challenging him pretty soon. Stort's going to be looking to get some redemption after that incident, so he should be flying through here, trying to get back at some of what he lost after that spin.
And to just show you how much time he's lost, he's actually behind Rob. I just didn't notice that. Both of them can go to the end. Both of them have made 2 stops, but Stewart's in 10th, whereas Rob is in 6th. 5 seconds up the road. Holy moly! What was that from Matthew earlier? He just came to almost a complete stop into turn 3. Very quick, lightning-like reaction from Stuart Leslie to not crash into him. What has happened to Matthew? He just almost came to a complete stop.
Maybe just an attempt to just let Stewart through, realizing there wasn't much of a fight there, but...
he almost slammed completely on the brakes to a complete stop. He slowed down that much. Gee whiz. That put my heart in my mouth. Jesus Christ.
So Honda and Justin into the pits.
Oh, and Justin with the front wing change as well. And away he goes. And he comes out behind Rob as well. So Rob at the moment a very solid
behind
race.
Stewart too. It's going to be close with Stewart and Justin.
Oh, here we go. He comes out in front of Matthew, only just, but behind Stuart Leslie. 1.7 seconds separating the two. Ooh, dearie me, that was a moment and a half. But these drivers will be coming towards their final pit stops. Cameron will need to make another one soon. Same with Dave Arbus in the Ferrari, currently in 4th place. He'll need to make a pit stop soon as well. And Honda's only 5.1 seconds behind Daniel, who's on 19 lap old hards. So Daniel at the moment has got good track position, but yeah, his race pace is going to fall off a cliff when they
it's not a fight he's going to win.
No. He's going to lose so much time.
Chris and Dustin, as Dustin dives into the pits.
And gets a 5 second.
Speeding.
I've done that.
Driving glitch on board with him.
I've done that.
Oh yeah, it's super easy to speed there.
It's just so easy to miss your mark by a meter or two and just go into the pit lanes just a little bit too quick. But yeah, I've done that countless times here at Canada. It's always something I try to manage, just brake a little bit earlier than you think. Don't risk getting the 5 second penalty because it costs you quite a bit here. As Stewart's now on the back of Christopher, coming into turn 8, then turn 9. Now he'll probably use overtake here, I imagine. No, he won't. I was feeling like he was going to make a move into the hairpin, because he will still get DRS because of the location of the DRS protection zone. That's a very early time to turn on overtake.
He's putting it on quite early. He's going to fly by Christopher.
And here comes Justin in the background. I don't think he's quite... Or maybe he is close enough. He sends
it.
Oh, and look at that. Oh, it's
Man.
Christopher. That was a big moment in the background. Just about catches it, but oh boy. But that's what you mean. Don't go side by side through there. You don't want to go double file. Because
I mean, Justin got the move down there, but it costed him 3 seconds.
Yeah.
He just picked up another penalty for that. So, as tempting as it is, sometimes you just don't. It's not the best idea to do something like that.
Yeah, there we go. Honda is now half a second, a bit over half a second behind the McLaren of Joker. And in fact, he's gained that time fairly quickly as Cameron's come into the pits. So this will be his final stop. He's going to go onto the soft tyre. That's an interesting call, as his teammate has a moment at turn 2. That's Michael Marker. Still there, he chucks it in reverse, slams it into the barrier on the outside, and here comes the 2 leaders. Luckily, Marker didn't impede them too much. But
so Cam goes to another soft in P3, so that could be big.
It's been a fantastic performance from him, and those soft tyres will most likely make it. But these softs, although they seem like a good tyre to use, I find that they fall off pretty quickly. I much prefer the medium tyre as a race tyre. But
yeah, maybe they'll be a little better for him at lighter fuel load.
Yeah, that's very true.
Car should be feeling a little bit better at this point in the race.
Yeah,
we'll just have to see what he could do.
As
he's got to go. Oh, Honda moves in back into the lead.
Oh, it's Matthew.
Matthew around again.
And here comes Dustin into the wall. 3-point turn into reverse. Pulls it out. Gets it going again. Not a good day for Matthew. Crashing in quali. And it's looking like he'll finish outside of the points. Somewhat surprisingly, we haven't seen a safety car this race at all. I've done a few races here commentating and racing, and I usually see a safety car around here, but we're not going to see one tonight, it would seem. As Gustin makes a move on Stewart. No, he doesn't. He pulls out of it just to get that done. But Stewart hangs on to 6th place for now. Coming through the turn 3 and 4 chicane. Is he close enough to perhaps make a move into turn 8? I don't think he'll go for it though, even if he is close enough. Because then Stewart will get DRS coming down the Casino Straight as Matthew gets a 5-second penalty for speeding. I have a feeling he's going to retire. There we go.
Yeah.
And Bojan retired from the section as well.
Retired as well.
So we've got 5 non-finishers tonight.
Yeah, so we'll have 12 runners.
As Joker comes in, the McLaren is in. So he's going to go into a set of softs and go to the end. Well, who is he going to come out behind? Is he going to come out behind Rob? No, he won't, I think. As Dave Arvis is still out.
Close. We got a yellow flag. Oh, that's for Bojan's car that came out.
Here comes the McLaren, and it shoots out in front. Oh, who's that? Oh, that's Bojan's AI. My word,
yeah.
That's
Bojan's AI decided to park it between
I want to park here.
2 and 3.
This is my spot. I want to park on the racetrack, not even off the racetrack. I want to park on it. Oh, fuck, the AI is stupid. Anyway. To call it artificial intelligence is an insult to intelligence. Anyway. This Laporte is still trying to find a way past that Mercedes. I reckon he might be close enough to get this move done at the hairpin. No, he's not. Stewart's got enough momentum on his side to hold on to position. But he'll get DRS, Justin. Uses overtake. So does Stewart.
Ooh. This might get hairy here.
And Mercedes has got some straight line speed. Dearie me. Into the wall of champions.
Oh, he's going to set him up. Ooh, gets a little...
He's going to make a move here to the inside line, heading into turn 1. This isn't done though. Into turn 2. Stewart will have the inside
close
line.
racing.
Very close on the exit into turn 3. Stewart has the inside line. Can Justin hang it there? No, he can't. He falls back. Leslie hangs on for 6.
Between these two.
Very respectful driving. Good skill, great respect, great sportsmanship as well. Oh, and Stewart has a massive moment.
Gets a little...
Oh, how did he catch that? A superb recovery there. Deary me.
So now Stewart's going to be the chaser here. We'll see what happens with the roles reversed.
Alright, as Honda sets a new fastest lap with 10
up front, setting the fastest laps. Ooh, Stewart's really muscling that car around. Car does not look super happy.
Well, he's got 3 lap older medium tyres, so tyre wear isn't on his side at the moment. But as Laprade comes through the wall of champions, Stewart is gaining a little bit. Both of these guys low on ERS. They've been battling that hard, spending all of their resources to try and attack each other. Dustin Howe gets a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. But it seems that Dave Arvis is going to try and stay out and finish on these medium tyres, it would seem.
That's going to be a real tall task.
But the highest he can get at the moment is 4th. But he's going to have a hard time hanging on to it with Rob hunting him down.
Rob's hunting him down pretty quickly.
And also, we better keep an eye on Justin here as well. Justin's on fresher tyres by 2 laps, and the gap is 3 seconds, so that gap could quite easily close up, particularly if Bach decides to stay out and really fight hard for his position. Joker, fastest lap, a 10 flat from him. That's kind of expected on that tyre. It's on the fresh, soft compound tyre. As Rob is now within 2 seconds of Dave Arbus heading through turn 3 and turn 4. Let's see. Is your mic okay, Michael?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just it's a bit of static on my end, but I can hear, that's all.
Well, maybe my air conditioning running. It's a little bit too hot to not use the AC unit.
Oh, fair enough.
This time of year.
Yeah, it's getting pretty warm here in Australia as well. Spring coming around. It's sort of like a light switch. Through winter it's bloody cold, and then as soon as it hits spring, oh, here you go, here's 30 degree temperatures. 30 degrees Celsius temperatures. There you go.
Stewart is really trying his best to hold on to that car.
Well, he's held on to the gearbox for now. He's not dropped outside of a second, so he's doing a good job. But it's going to be a hard task taking that position back. He's on older tyres. And that car, as you've mentioned, doesn't look in the best of shape, so... But he's hanging in there, he's determined.
Rob also hounding Dave here, which was to be expected.
Rob's going to get a bit of DRS. That gap is close to 1.6 seconds now between Rob and Justin. So there might be a battle on between those two if they close up. Dave, he's trying to make these tyres work, try and get to the end of the race. Now Rob's caught up, but where is he going to look to overtake?
Ooh, can he get it done here?
He's going to switch it into overtake. He's got momentum on his side. I think he's going to go for it down the inside.
Oh, inside.
Wall of Championship chicane. Contact! Oh, and here comes Justin. Oh, no! Oh, Rob would be furious with that. For sure. Into turn 1, then turn 2. Rob with the inside line for 2. He should be able to hold it. He's able to put the traction down. But yeah, contact between him and the Ferrari, and that's a 3-second time penalty.
Picks up a penalty.
That's some extra salt into the wound. Dear oh dear. And and Justin's gone into the back of Dave, and that's wing damage.
Oh, he's got wing off.
That Ferrari at the moment, a massive roadblock as it's got 20 lap-old mediums. Here comes Rob. Oh, and Rob gets wing damage.
Rob into the back of him.
Dear oh dear. So now Rob and Justin on pretty much the exact same wing, and they're both missing end plates and on the left-hand side as well. But here comes Stuart Leslie. Oh, but that's absolutely disheartening. Oh, dearie me, contact.
Oh, this is going to get interesting.
And here comes Dave
Is
Arbus.
Dave going to try something?
Yep,
Oh, my
and
God.
overshoots the chicane. And he rejoins. Luckily, he didn't get a penalty. Oh, but that's so unfortunate for Rob. He drove superbly this race. Unfortunately, some contact has resulted in him getting damage. He's in 6th place at the moment. I'll check penalties in just a minute. That could be a potential podium out the window for Rob. With question marks over Joker on whether or not he will actually finish this race as a reserve driver. We've seen reserve drivers pull out of sessions in the recent past, so it'll be interesting to see what he'll do.
Honda picks up his first penalty. Don't think that'll be an issue.
I don't think
it looks like Stewart is going to be able to take advantage of all that, because now he's got Justin right in front of him with some damage. So, and we got Daniel in right now.
Retiring from the
And that answers our question. So, we'll have a fight for the final podium position.
I do
and that
feel for Rob.
effectively would have been a podium for Rob.
I feel for Rob, I really do. Small bit of contact with the Ferrari at the Wall of Champions. Half spun the car and it put him back with this slot. Then contact again with the Ferrari at turn 8, resulting in him getting wing damage. As a LaProix.
Oh, Justin gets another penalty.
Now I'll just quickly check penalties for those 3. So Justin, 1, 2, 3, 4. So he's got 12 seconds next to his name. Stewart has got 9 seconds. Rob has got 9 seconds to his name. So
so that could be pretty close between all 3 of these guys.
Well, those 3 are separated by 3.5 seconds. Rob needs to find about, I don't know, about half a second in the next lap in order to try and take Justin. But now Stewart's on the back of him, so that will definitely help. Stewart will apply pressure and Justin will defend like crazy, I would imagine. So that will only bring these 2 back towards Rob. But with Stewart and Rob being on the same amount of penalties, Stewart will ultimately finish in front. So even with the accident, Stuart Leslie is lining himself up for a 3rd place finish. So just so long as he stays in this position.
Yeah, but I wonder if Stewart knows that Justin has an extra penalty than him, and he, I mean, if he knows that, I assume he'll just stay behind here and get his podium spot through penalties. No point in forcing anything.
No. But Andrew Honda, a commanding win here in Canada, winning on track by a margin of 17 seconds with penalties applied. The gap between the top 2, 20.2 seconds. But still some question marks over his head after what happened in qualifying. Sure, the stewards will look at it. Justin LaProix will come home across the line in 3rd, but will ultimately lose the position to Stuart Leslie. He will finish on the podium.
Rob P5.
Oh, he had a 5-second penalty as well that I didn't see.
Dave Arbus jumps all the way up to P4.
There we go.
He almost got Stewart after penalties.
There we go.
Dustin 9th. Marker's gonna finish 11th a lap down, and then we'll have Salvanic coming through in P10.
As Mashi was in this party, has soon left it, rather understandably so. Oh dear. An interesting race here in Canada. Gives Barkskool, the driver of the day, doing a one-stop strategy, and he ends up finishing in P4. Turned out to be a little bit of an obstacle for the cars behind to try and get past, but regardless, very nice drive here from Andrew Honda. Commanded all the way through, winning by 20 seconds over Cameron. A brilliant finish, showed good speed. He finishes in second place with Stuart Leslie in P3. It's almost a Canadian 1-2-3. Fortunately for Canada, Cameron was sort of in the way, finishing in second place.
So we'll actually get, I think we got Stuart in here already, and we'll get Honda and Cameron in for some interviews.
So, the unofficial results for the Canadian Grand Prix. Honda wins by 20 seconds over Cameron in P2, Stuart Leslie in P3, Barkskool, Dave Arbus in P4, Justin Laporte P5, Sean Yarborough finishes P. Now that's a pretty decent recovery. I didn't see too much of Sean throughout this race, but he scored some solid points. Rob, I feel for Rob a little bit there. That was a solid drive from him. Finishes in P7, Christopher in P8, Dustin Howard P9, and Salvanic rounding finisher in 11th. So, trying for some.
We'll wait for the top 3 to file in. We can start with P3 if we want to, as we already got them.
Yeah, just give me minutes. I'll just quickly unmute. There we go. I'll just make sure I'm in the showroom and whatnot. But seeing as you are here, Stuart, if you are there, I'm sure.
I'm here.
You are there. Well, first of all, congratulations on the P3. I bet you weren't expecting that after what happened at turn 10. But before we get on to that, just take us through your qualifying and your Canadian Grand Prix.
Yeah, qualifying, I mean, I guess overall weekend was an interesting one, that's for sure. Qualifying, my initial strategy was to qualify in the mediums. Unfortunately, I did think that the second lap on the mediums was, you could put in a really good lap on the second lap on them. So that was my plan all along, was just run sort of an installation lap on the softs, make sure that I wasn't going to go faster than what I was going to put on the mediums, and then hopefully be able to qualify top 5 on the mediums. Fortunately, that didn't really happen. Didn't get in a solid lap on those mediums. But ultimately, at the end of the day, I mean, I left myself enough time to come out and do a run on the softs. I got an okay lap in on the softs, but still a little bit bummed with how that worked out. But still a top 5 start. I wasn't going to I wasn't going to cry about it. Into the race, I actually got one of my best starts of the season. Moving to no traction control has definitely affected my race starts considerably this year, as would be expected. But I think I'm finally starting to figure it out, and I actually got a good start off the line. I think I picked up a spot right away. Could be wrong. I thought I could have at least picked up one more. Just couldn't find a good hole to stick my nose in to get it done. But I mean, overall, like, the car was a little bit more squirrely than I would have liked it to be. The tires were just never really hooking up. I imagine it was probably just the cloudy conditions that we had today. Any of the practice I had run had been nice sunshine. So it just could never really hook the car up. Luckily, I was able to keep it out of the wall, as I heard you guys keep talking about the Champions Wall, and I was just cursing you guys when you were doing that. But yeah, I mean, an unfortunate little spin there coming out of the hairpin for me. Lucky that I kept the wheels on it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I thought that was going to be the end of my race. Luckily, I didn't have to wait very long to get a gap to rejoin, and the pit lane was right there, so I actually didn't lose as much time as I maybe should have. Came in, so this is where that whole medium attempt came back to bite me a bit. When I came into the pits, I mean, the only other set of mediums I had, I wasn't going to put on the hards because that's just no.
Yeah.
But when the only other mediums I had were my qualifying tires, so yeah, they had like 5% wear on them already, so I was a little bit concerned about that. But actually, once I settled into the normal squirreliness of the car, it never really dropped off at all at the end of the race. So I actually had some amazing battles. Who was it with? Was it with Justin, I think?
Yeah,
we went
you had it with...
side for...
Yeah, you and Justin were fighting quite hard.
Yeah, we had so many battles throughout the entire race. It always felt like I had a rear mirror full of that Racing Point. He did an amazing job today, and shout out to him. That was a ton of fun to battle with him. But obviously, class of the field today was Andrew. Unfortunate that he had the incident that he did in the pits. But congratulations to him, and congratulations to Cam as well on the podium.
And also, just to quickly ask, how was that moment with Matthew at the entrance to turn 3? I was on board with you, and I honest to God shat myself.
Yeah, I shat myself too. Matt and I were in the same party together, and I knew I was closing up on him really fast with him being on the older hards, and he picked a very odd spot to do it, I'm not gonna lie, and he kind of caught me off guard. He like slammed on the brakes and said, "Here you go," or like, "You can go past me." It's like I would have appreciated another second of letting
preparation.
Me know, but that was a scary moment, but we all came out of it okay, so no harm, no foul.
But no, a great recovery from that spin that you had to get third place in the end. That was a very nice drive from you. Michael, anything to add that I haven't mentioned?
We watched you struggle with the handling of that car all day. So it's going to be some major setup work this week, looking towards Nationals on Saturday. Or are you going to stick it out with that one?
I'm just going to send it, bud. Just going to send it. And in all honesty, I'm probably going to stick with this setup. I really doubt that we're going to get another cloudy session on Saturday. It's either going to be sun or rain in Canada, I feel like. Fair so, yeah, I'm just going to stick with it, and what happens, happens.
But no, congrats on the P3, man. A superb recovery to get back onto the podium. But we'll move on to P2. Cameron, mate, that was a very solid drive from you. I didn't watch too much of you because you were too good, really. You were just super consistent. How was your race in qualifying here in Canada as a whole?
Yeah, like you said, there probably wasn't too much to watch. It was relatively uneventful. I didn't have too many ordeals, dramas, battles with many great drivers out there. Yeah. You know, had a couple moments with Joker, Honda. Obviously, they had much more better pace than me. Joker was pulling 110s, 110 flats, and I just couldn't beat that pace. Honda is an alien of his own race that I couldn't even comprehend. And then a huge shout out to this Stuart, obviously, what he was talking about coming out of the hairpin, that huge incident. I was right in front of him. I saw the whole thing in my review mirror. I was so sad and just completely shocked about that. You showed an incredible pace, and that made a huge window for me, an opportunity to keep the podium position as long as I drove very conservatively and consistently. You know, yeah, it was a fun time though. Really appreciate all the cleanliness of driving out there. Thank you.
Yeah, no, it was just a superb, consistent drive from you. And like I said, I don't really know too much to ask because you really were just that consistent, just constantly hitting your marks. Any troubles at all through that race, or was it just a perfect race for you to
No, I wouldn't consider it perfect at all. I got multiple quarter cutting warnings going through the last chicane right before the start finish. I got a couple there, and then as well as that chicane of the turn 1, turn 2.
Okay.
That turn 1 always gets me just a little bit, just take a little too much curve than I really can get away with.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the main ones I struggle with. There was another, I can't remember the exact turn numbers, but yeah, that I definitely could work on that as far as improvement in myself.
There's always room for improvement, and it's good to see that you've seen areas to work on that you can improve on as well. It's always good to reflect. Even if it's been a superb race, there's always going to be some room for improvement here and there. So, Michael, anything to add? I just don't know too much to ask Cameron. Dear.
Yeah, congrats, Cam. I think it's been Bahrain scored a podium, so I think you've had a few tough weeks. You got to be pretty happy to, get another good race under your belt. So how does it feel to put in just a really solid, consistent night, and do you think you could keep that going forward?
Oh, sorry, was that to me?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. If I read that question correctly, it was just, can I keep that the space going forward? I think I absolutely
Yeah, more or less.
I think I absolutely can, as long as I am able to avoid any problems with any other drivers. Keep good momentum. Keep it clean through every corner, especially if I start farther back from the grid. That's never easy, starting farther back than the top 5. It's always more of a challenge. So. Yeah.
But yeah, a superb drive, really. Super clean, super smooth operator out there today. Well done, Cameron. A very deserving second place for you, mate.
Thank you so much.
But I don't think Honda's joined us, has he? So.
Nah, I think he hopped off and went to bed.
Well,
victory nap.
It was I think Cameron described it the best, an alien drive from him. I mean, to
Had to get
see
back
what
in his
happened to
UFO.
him in the pits, where he got held up by his, I don't know if that's his full-time teammate or a substitute for tonight's race, but to be held up by your teammate, to lose the race lead, and to just reset, focus, and just get the job done and win by 20 seconds is a very, very good drive from him. So a very solid drive from Honda, and another race win to his name, so he builds up the championship lead even more. But I think that just might conclude round 9 of this America Sunday Championship here on Trans Nations Esports. Next week, if I'm not mistaken, is no,
France.
It's France. I
thought this week was France.
Yet.
I was so excited to skip over Canada, so you almost totally forgot about France.
Circuit Paul Ricard. Well, it's not like Paul Ricard is a particularly memorable circuit. I mean, let's be honest. It's a race, in real life at least, it's a racetrack that has provided next to no decent racing whatsoever. But amazingly, from my experience as a commentator, the best race that I ever watched as a commentator happened at Paul Ricard. It was absolutely nuts. It was complete bonkers. There was racing, there was drama, there was action. It was just everything happened at once. It was brilliant. So I've got a small soft spot for Paul Ricard. A small one, not a big nice one, a small one, a teeny tiny one. So who knows with Paul Ricard? It could be a half decent race. Well, I hope it would be. But yeah, okay, so round 10 will be the French Grand Prix. Well, hopefully that'll be an interesting one. But just before we sign off, I want to say thank you again, Michael, for joining me in the commentary booth. It's great to have your expertise alongside me to make sure everything I'm saying isn't complete bullshit.
I wouldn't call it expertise, really, but yeah.
Experience, we'll go with that. You'll
even that.
Oh. You're a far better racing driver than what I will be. I always need that sort of professional, better racing driver alongside. It's always good to see what some of the top drivers do around racetracks, to have that side in the commentary box. It's absolutely fantastic. But yeah, that will conclude round 9 here at Circuit Gilles Villeneuve. Tune in next week for the French Grand Prix at Le Castellet, France, at Circuit Paul Ricard. Until then, I've been the Smeg. My co-commentator tonight, Michael Garone Jr. or Top Gun 88. And we'll see you next week in France. Until then, good night.